Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Matty Carl, and today's Let's Talk, we're going to cover the state of the game. And I know, we were going to discuss gear sets, and you had your heart set on gear sets, but this is important. And this state of the game is going to be important from here until October, and we want to focus on bringing you all the important updates as they happen. So let's just drop right into things and let you know the biggest news of today, and that is 1.4 is being pushed out until October, and it will not include the survival DLC. The survival DLC will be coming later, most likely in November. Now, I know if you did not hear about this until now, your head is probably just about to explode like a Bugs Bunny cartoon with steam coming out of it, and you're absolutely fuming. But let me stop you there and stop the hate train from heading out of the station. We want this to happen, people. They can't fix the game if everyone is working on the update. If all of Massive is working on the survival update, then they can't fix the game. Would you rather have a broken game with DLC or a fixed game with balanced gameplay, a tuned Dark Zone, bug fixes, and less all-around exploits looming over us as we try to settle in? This separation gives Massive the chance to hear us out and make the fixes we need them to make. Having this update out in November or October makes 1.4 a huge overhaul and a chance to reinvigorate the game. So I'm not upset. I am very much the opposite. It's a huge step in the right direction for fixing this game, and I will continue to help out where I can by providing the best in-design ideas and anything else that I possibly can to make this game great. This means that we'll probably see the survival DLC sometime in late November, early December, because we want them to take their time, get 1.4 out, and then we can take a look and see where 1.4 needs improvement to make it to the survival DLC successful. I wrote on Twitter the other night that somebody mentioned something to me about the fixes in the game, and so I wrote back to them and I said, no one wants to see their game fail. Massive will do everything they can to fix the game in their power, everything they can in their power to fix the game, and that's what they are doing. I can wait for survival, and I can give Massive the time they need to bring the game up to the standard the community deserves. Let me see if I can explain this, why it's such a good thing. Like I said previously, they probably have a few people right now working on bug fixes, and the majority of people were working on the survival DLC, the Last Stand DLC, and maybe something else. In the game industry, there are two ways to fix a problem, and this is coming from a former producer. That's what I used to do in the game industries. I used to produce games, and I used to have to go through these problems. Now, the first way is to throw resources, people, and money at it, and that's one way to fix it, and that cuts down on time. But you have to have the people to be able to do that, and you have to have the resources, and doing that means that you have to take them from another part of the project or another project altogether. The second way is to throw more money at it, or throw more time at it, not money. The first one has to do with money. This one has to do time, and time is always a huge factor because you don't always have time. Massive is doing both, and that means you will get a solid experience from the game in 1.4, but it's not just an easy fix that we're talking about. First, you have to design the game and how the fixes are going to go. Those people who are not programmers are sitting in meetings all day figuring this out, what they want to implement in the fix, how they're going to fix it, and the fix is going to be twofold. The parts of the game that are buggy and the parts of the game that from a design aspect are broken. So there's going to be bug fixes that will take place that the programmers are going to handle, and then there's going to be design fixes that the designers and producers and artists and anybody else who can contribute is going to handle. So parts of the game that aren't balanced, they are going to weigh in and balance those. When 1.4 drops, we will most likely see a huge shift in weapons and gear sets, and both probably in the Dark Zone and in the regular areas. I mean, they're not going to just do this. They're going to fix the NPC issues and all of this, and it's going to affect the entire game. And so that's going to take a lot of QA to go through and do that. And I know you're laughing because you're like, QA, ha ha ha, like there is such a thing. But there is. I mean, they're going to go through it, and hopefully they actually open up some sort of public test server between now and then, because I know you'll hear about it at the end. They're inviting people out there to help them, and they're inviting people to go to forums and do that. But I really want to see a public test server so we can go ahead and test these out in a public setting and go ahead and try and provide feedback as to how it's going, because a million people pounding on the game is better than 10 people sitting in a room doing that. Now, they aren't implementing new things, so that doesn't mean that we won't see new ideas presented in the game in 1.4. After all, some of these ideas can't be implemented without them being broken down and rebuilt. From a design perspective, we will most likely start seeing the significant improvements in how everything is done. Less farming in one area, different loot tables for activities, different reward tables, and so on. It won't be new content, but it will be refreshed content, and we'll be happier for it. We'll start seeing the fruits of our labor. There will be different ideas being passed around, and we'll see those things as we go in, and they may not all be spelled out in some sort of patch document, but they will be spelled out. The most important part, and this is like 1.3, it will be free and available to everyone at the same time, so there's no waiting on PS4. I don't know how this will affect the survival update content because they still have their contractual obligations to make with the month exclusive for Xbox, so most likely survival won't be on PS4 until December if it comes out in November. Don't quote me on that though, since things always change. We could see something go down that would see the contractual obligation move to something else like Ghost Recon. The important part to focus on is Massive's dedication to fixing this game and making the community happy. They will be keeping us informed as these things happen and in the state of the game. I mean, they said they're looking at fixing mobile cover and the weirdness that comes with that. So let's let them improve the experience, give them the time to do it, and if you gotta play something, play Destiny in the meantime or something like that, and come back to this when it runs its course over the month of September. Destiny content lasts for about 2 weeks before the majority of the casual players get bored, and that's just from experience. You have to be a hardcore Destiny player to just keep playing it over and over again. You will finish the content within a couple days, and then you'll be like, whoa, what's next? Oh, the raid's coming out. And you'll finish that in a couple days, or you won't be able to do it until there's a lot of people doing it, but that's just the way it is. You'll finish Destiny Rise of Iron, and you'll be ready for this to come out. And, moving it to October, it couldn't have been better, because Rise of Iron, giving you a choice between Destiny or the Division, you don't want that choice. Moving this out and not competing with that is probably also one of the greatest moves that they're doing here. Now, 1.4 will have a focus on balancing of weapons and making loot relevant. Making loot relevant will help a lot of the woes people have. The one important thing that Yannick said, and he talked about it, and it was briefly glossed over, so most people missed it. He was talking about loot and how in order to do a challenge mode, you need gear that drops from the challenge mode. So how do you do challenge mode if you need gear that drops from challenge mode? That's really what fixing that to be more relevant to you. This is actually a problem that no one has really mentioned before, and a lot of people miss. If you need 240 gear for challenge mode, it should drop from hard mode, and if you need 268 gear to run heroic, you should be getting your 268 gear from challenge mode. And the gear that drops from heroic should just be there to make better rolls and have max level stuff and just make the overall heroic run easier. The gear you get from challenge mode should enable you to do heroics. The gear from heroic mode should make heroic mode easier for you to be able to do the directives and get geared up, and it's part of the scaling technique, and it's something not many people have really thought about until Yannick mentioned it in the State of Game, and I picked up on it, and I think that's a very important part of the scaling process, is making sure that the gear you have is relevant to you and making it easier to go through the stuff. Fixing the NPCs, that's one thing, but fixing the gear I think is more important, and fixing the scaling of the gear so that you can go ahead and defeat these enemies in an easier manner. That's really what it's about. So let's keep going, since we can talk about this all day, but quick things that are working on that will make things a lot better. Weapon skins no longer taking up inventory, a craft all button, and I really think they need to bring crafting back to the forefront. Bring back a lot of the craftable stuff that we need. Buyback options from the vendors when you accidentally sell something you didn't want to sell, and running between the boo and the terminal. Always things that are great to have, but things not always that time allows to be able to put into a patch, because some of these things are, it might be a 2-week fix, it might be a 3-week fix, it might be a 1-day fix, but you really need time to investigate these things. So let's move on to more cool stuff. They want to hear from us. That's the important thing. They want to hear from the people still playing the game, the fans of the game like me, because the YouTubers, we're just a small group of people, and they want to have a much larger group. There's probably like 4 or 5 main YouTubers, and I don't even count myself in that, because my you guys are great, but my fan base is really small compared to some of these other other guys that really bring a lot of the topics to the forefront. But I've also noticed that a lot of those bigger ones that were doing Division content have completely abandoned the Division. And here I am still, still giving out advice, still giving out content, and still wanting to see this game great. So please pass my YouTube channel on to your friends and stuff. I want to hear from you. And the great thing is that Massive wants to bring people out to their studio to help with the game. Hamish said there would be a link on the divisiongame.com to submit your stuff, and they will fly you out to the site, all expense paid, and you'll get to help out with the game. And they're not talking about YouTubers or just bloggers or podcasters. They're talking about everyone. Everyone over the age of 18, you can go ahead and sign up, and they will bring you out. No, all expense paid. I'm sure they're choosing just certain people, but they are going to be looking at the people who will have a lot to contribute, who can actually come out. And I am sure that there are a lot of different criteria, and I'm unsure what it all means, but it sounds cool. I would love a chance to go out there and work. If work would give me the time off, I would love to go out there, but that, it might not happen. I will certainly go apply and throw my hat in the ring for there. I am always happy to sit here though and keep making these videos, and it's my way of giving back. So I encourage anyone probably over the age of 18 to apply and submit your ideas. Thanks to Karunzi, I was watching the video, the live chat, and seeing the stream, and I saw him throw out my name as someone who should go. So always thrilled to have someone representing Gun Brothers Gaming in the Twitch chat, since it happens when I'm asleep most of the time or at work. Like this morning, it happened while I was at work, so I can't always be looking at the Twitch chat and going in there. I know a lot of the Division YouTubers are there, and a lot of the guys who aren't making content are still showing up for these things because they love the game. Also, to all of you guys who said the YouTubers don't play the game anymore, I honestly beg to differ with you. Please take a look at my last videos, like the last 10 videos I've done, and tell me that I am not still churning out videos for the Division. Sure, there are a few YouTubers who are moving on to other games, but honestly, I have other games too that I play, and maybe I'll put some more videos up for them. But my dedication to helping make this game better and help balancing and fixing the game is really my #1 concern. And especially since 90% of the people who watch my videos are here for Division content, I want to make this game a return to glory, and I am dedicated to making that happen. So that is my time. Please go and watch the rest of the state of the game. There are a few other tidbits of information that everyone should be able to pick up and watch, but I covered most of the important topics that I wanted to cover. Tune in tomorrow when I will be reviewing gear sets, and we'll save the Aaron Keener storyline discussion for another day. Thank you to everyone who's still watching the Division videos out there, and for all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, I'm Mounty Carl, and we'll see you in the underground. Agent out.